What up, what up, what up? It's Lady Perm, LADIEPURM.com. And I'm out here at Indian Steel Park over off of Central and Indian School. You can't really tell because it is late. But here in Arizona, you kind of learn to be like the children of the corn. You come out at night, so when it's nice and cool, let the kids work out their energy and things like that. But I'm over here chilling right now with my girl, LIL RELAXER.
Hi, everybody.
For those of you who don't know, and I was a little torn by doing this, for those of you who don't know, LIL RELAXER is my daughter.
Hi, Mommy.
Hi, baby. So I do my best to try and not, talk too much about my personal life and my children and things like that. Most people know I have children, but for those of you who don't know me, I choose to kind of keep them separate. However, as a mother of a very beautifully talented young lady, I feel it's time that I start supporting her more in her future endeavors and her goals and visions and dreams. So that's what we're here to do. So how old are you, LIL RELAXER?
I am actually 13 years old.
13. And LIL RELAXER is very talented. I'm very proud of this girl. Tell them a little bit about what you do.
Well, I am a poet, a writer, and I model for Dub Lynch. As you can see, we're recognizing it right now.
She's repping that Dub Lynch. Now, Dub Lynch, we're going to talk a little bit about that because, yes, you are one of the youthful faces of Dub Lynch and the Dub Lynch brand. And Dub Lynch is a clothing company designed to break the stereotypes of how we in an urban community see ourselves and how others see us. A lot of the designs are a little controversial with the watermelon and the little nigga baby holding the chicken and things like that. And you've also received a lot of backlash when you wear the shirt because you don't look exactly like mommy. So there are times when people have questioned you as far as your ethnicity and things like that. How does that make you feel?
Well, part of me feels like I really don't care what you think about me because all I know is that where I come from, I'm not going to hide it. And then another part of me is like, well, if I do this kind of stuff, people aren't going to see me or like me, and I have to have this persona. So, but most of me is just like, well, this is my history. I have to do what I need to do to bring out what I really am and stop being fake. So,
love that. I love that about you. The other thing is that Dub Lynch, the clothing line, Willie Lynch Clothing Company, is actually for everybody.
Yeah. And
the point we're making is that we're all, I don't care what color, race, nationality, whatever your background is, we're all stereotyped in some fashion or form. And the Dub Lynch clothing brand is designed to break those barriers. So stay tuned. The website will be back and up and running, and we'll be back in rotation coming here shortly. But as a poet, LIL RELAXER is an avid reader, has been since
3 maybe.
Oh God, you started reading early. You were talking more than you were reading. What are some of the books that you like to read?
Well, I like to read mostly about my history, so I'll read about World War I and stuff like that, but most of the time I'm reading about where I come from. So like probably the slave books. Sorry if I offended anybody, but
we're free to be free on Lady Perm Show. If you offended, get your life together.
But I just mostly think that where I come from, I need to learn more about it because what they teach us in school isn't true. They put whites before blacks, and I feel that's very disrespectful. So, yeah.
Now, we're originally from Tacoma, Washington, and things are a lot different. You were very young when we moved out here to Arizona. Oh, speaking of Arizona, check out Lil Relaxer's hat. Whoa, who gave you that hat?
Hi, Uncle Benedict. Shout out.
She loves her Cardinals hat, and she loves her Uncle Benedict. But what we were talking about is that we've been out here. So Arizona has been the biggest influence on you because you were about 4 when we moved here. But since we've been out here, you know, it's a whole different kind of culture and things like that than where we come from. Do you feel that there well, let me put it like this. Have you ever felt out of place here in Arizona?
I've always felt out of place because where I go to school, it's not everybody I know or who I grew up with from birth. It's all these different people that come up to me and just call me white girl out of the blue, and they don't know who I am. They just see this little girl who's all white, doesn't know where she comes from, and I feel that a lot of people discriminate here because everybody doesn't like everybody because either the way they talk, the way they look, the way they are, what they do, and I find that just like you shouldn't do that. Like I've come home crying to my mom I don't know how many times because of what happened at school, but learning about Willie Lynch and all that, I've just been like, well, this is where I come from. This is the color of my skin. Nothing else matters but what comes from inside. So
that's awesome. Now, some of the things that you have done is, let's see here, a couple of years ago you did the Honey's Fashion Show, the Little Honey's Fashion Show, which was great. You also delivered a
sermon.
It was a sermon. It was an encouraging sermon to young kids called God Thinks You're Beautiful Even If Others Don't. You can check that video out on her Indie Boom page for
Shout
kids.
Shout out to Born Divine.
Shout out to Uncle Born. Little Relaxer has her profile set up at IndieBoom, INDIE boom, BOOM.com. And actually, if you go to kids.indieboom.com, you can find Little Relaxer, LIL Relaxer, RELAXER. And on there, you'll see a video of her mini sermon. But also, you've been doing poetry for a long time.
For a while now.
It's been quite a few years since you first did your first poem. I want you to start with a piece of the poem that you just called Turn Off That Crap. Can you pull that out for me?
Oh, yes, I actually can.
And then we'll go into the music, because I know you've been waiting to get into the music.
Yeah.
And this is called Turn Off Your Crap, or Turn Off That Crap.
Music today, they call that hip-hop. Well, what they call hip-hop is all just a bunch of crap. It used to all be about mac and cheese and family time, but now it's all about sex, drugs, and money. We all need to turn off that crap and teach our children what real hip-hop is. So turn off that crap and listen to some real music. Just turn off that crap and teach them about our history. So just turn off that crap.
Yes, that was a little piece of a Little Relaxer's poem called Turn Off That Crap. Inspired by the hip-hop
community today, just how like everybody is, and it's no longer about growing up, it's all about what they want us to be. It's like you don't even hear women these days using appropriate language. Like it's all about,
now hold on, mama be cursing, you know, mom. I don't want to make it seem and be biased here, because you know mommy's mouth sometimes, especially when I'm on business calls and things like that. Shout out to Thahum, because he said it best: you can shelter your children if you choose to. I don't. However, let's talk about one of the ones that you mention a lot that you really don't care for, and that's
Nicki Minaj.
Yeah. So tell me your thoughts on Nicki Minaj and her influence that she has on girls your age.
Well, the influence that she has on... I'm going to start with the influence. Well, the influence she has on us today is that you change your body. Because ever since she got into the hip-hop community, it's about plastic surgery on everything. And she looks just like a grown-up Barbie. She looks so fake. and she has this inspiration. I wouldn't call it inspiration, but it's just what girls look at her like, oh, well, we're too fat, we have to, like, girls my age, I can walk into my school and people are talking about, oh my god, these clothes don't fit, I need a smaller size, or they're not eating, they're starving themselves. And from a young age, I've been fat, and I don't, like, I've just been,
You're
like,
healthy.
Well, I'm healthy,
You're
but
healthy.
Big bone, my mom calls it.
No, I call you beautiful. But I get what the point you're making. And, you know, there's enough pressure on these young girls nowadays that when you have a specific artist targeting a specific demographic, which is primarily young girls this age, the pressure that they feel is actually, it can be very destroying. And, you know, we've dealt with issues of you trying to starve yourself and make yourself throw up. I mean, I don't want to put all your business out there because, you know, we're going to save that for another time. But, you know, we've had to overcome a lot of things. And a lot of it you have expressed was because of the influence from today's hip-hop.
Because, like, I feel girls these days just don't know how to be themselves anymore. My mom growing up, she knew what it was like to just leave herself the way she was, but girls these days have to go out and buy all this makeup to cover up their pimples, or do their eyebrows this way, or get magazines and do their hair like this. Like, just look at Miley Cyrus. What happened to Hannah Montana?
Right. What happened to Hannah Montana? Anyways, well, you know, I mean, and things really haven't changed, honey. You know, like, as far as me growing up, it was the same things. You know, we were pressured because that was back in a time when I was your age. That was during a time when you had videos like Pumps and a Bump. You had, Sir Mix-a-Lot, I Like Big Butts. And although that this is
Biggie Smalls,
mild, well, Biggie Smalls was, you know, yeah, he talked a lot about certain things, but I'm talking about the imagery. The imagery of videos were, you know, you started having during that time when I was your age, of the women wearing the cocktail dresses in the videos and things like that. Whereas years before that, when I was younger, we had more videos where it was like Queen Latifah and MC Lyte. Remember that video I showed you, Ladies First? So when I was your age, the pressure was just as on, because that was, you know, during a time where hip-hop was kind of changing to market sex and market provocative behavior. And so where we're at right now, when I was your age, it definitely wasn't where it is now. But
I would say it's gotten a lot worse.
You would say that compared, because I mean, you are, you know, I expose you to all kinds of music, hip hop primarily, and a lot of the hip hop that I do expose you to is a lot of hip hop that was influential when I was growing up, which is definitely different than the hip hop.
And I would say I like that music more than what we're listening to today, because TLC, as I was listening to today, it was talking about girls' images and how they talked, like they sang about what they wanted to be and how they looked at people their age. And I felt that really inspiring, because I've seen the TLC documentary so many times, and I just love how they grew up together and got along and all that, and I don't see much of that today. It's just not what it used to be.
Well, I mean, with TLC, it was, you know, they were older than what they were marketed as. So, but you're right, the image that they had was a lot different than, you know, of course, Nicki Minaj. So I just love the fact that I was such a TLC fan when I was your age, and that now you are a big TLC fan. That actually is something special to me. So now you definitely do poetry. What are some of your future goals?
Well, my future goals are, ever since I was little, I wanted to go to Harvard and become a doctor or a lawyer. And I feel I can achieve those goals with the help of my mother and the help of my uncles and everybody out there that just look at me for who I am. I don't, like, ever since I was young, my mom's been like, you don't need a boyfriend to make you look beautiful. You need yourself. You need to be able to look in the mirror and be like, you're beautiful. And what I want to say to you girls out there is, you need to be able to look in the mirror with no makeup on, just yourself, and be like, I'm beautiful. Because the more you do that, the more you believe it yourself, and the more you will just realize that you don't need a man, you don't need a boyfriend, you don't need nothing, just yourself to make yourself happy.
I'm so proud of you. I'm very proud of you. And we're actually in the process of getting started on writing a book.
Yeah.
We've talked about writing a book, and writing a book that is a compilation of our relationship and struggles and obstacles that we've overcome. And it's geared towards encouraging other young girls. Like, you have a passion to encourage other young girls.
Yeah.
Is that something that you see yourself doing in the future?
I see myself being one of, there's a book that I read, it's called Stop Laughing at Me, and it's about bullying.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember the name of the author?
It was a young girl, Jody. That's the first name. I don't remember the last name.
Mm-hmm.
But she wrote it growing up, and she was bullied, picked on for everything she did, whether sticking up for herself, being who she really was, helping out the little disabled kids, and she always got made fun of that. She never had any real friends because her friends wanted her to be what her friends wanted her to be. She could never be herself. And I find that girls don't need friends who are going to be fake. 1 minute be pretty and all happy-dappy with you, and then 1 minute so rude. Like a quote from Marilyn Monroe, if you're going to be two-faced, at least make one of them pretty.
I know that's right. Well, again, LIL RELAXER will be working more on doing her poetry. She has lots of things that she's been writing. Again, she's been doing this for years, and I was a little torn by. I support her and encourage her in everything that she does, but as a mom, especially when you come from a past and you're familiar with the industry and what it can do to a young girl, you kind of tend to want to shelter and protect and keep them away. But she's definitely gifted, and I'm speechless a lot of times because she's so bold with her creativity, and I know that there are times when she writes things that are a little like
well, who can say it? I get it from my mom.
But I support her, and LIL RELAXER came to me and said that she wanted to start taking her gifts more seriously. And as a mom, my job is to be her personal cheerleader. So I will do my best to support her, and I will do my best to encourage her, and I will do my best to allow her to be free with her creativity, because as y'all know, I'm as free as I want to be with mine. But I definitely do believe that it's time that we start kind of mentoring our youth a little bit more. We can't do it forever. And it seems like the more we let the youth do it themselves without the proper guidance and without the resources necessary to move on to the next level, we're kind of looking at hip-hop becoming extinct as we know it to be. It's turned more into pop, and it's become a machine. But I salute all those parents out there. The Bring Your Child to Work Day Cypher was an amazing example of parent leadership. And I mean, you had C Alpha and Honey Amy and Empress and Thahum, just to name a couple that were in the video, that they're showing you that it's time that we actually start teaching our youth and being more held accountable as parents for what we expose them to. And any final thoughts?
Well, my final thought is to all those kids out there, just start listening to your parents because they want the best for you. And like I said, just be able to look in the mirror and say you're beautiful without any help. That's all I have to say.
I love it. Well, you know Mommy loves you so much. Mwah, with your hat on. I love you, and I am very proud of you. And y'all be on the lookout for LIL Relaxer because there's so much more to come. We're talking studio time, videos. This is what she wants to do, and I will do my best to not be a show mom and let her be creative and free. So again, it's LIL Relaxer on Indie Boom, or you can find her on kids.indieboom.com for now. Also coming up on YouTube, she'll have a YouTube channel ran by me, so everything is being monitored. And you know, first priority is keep my baby safe. So again, any aunties and uncles you want to shout out?
Shout out to my auntie Tyene, Auntie Kim, and shout out to my uncle Benedict and Uncle Bourne. Thank you, you guys. Bye.
Salute.